Hello and welcome back, Josh, Sam, and anyone else who's watching to Lviv and Let Die. I nearly called you John, hence I said Josh. But welcome back, guys. Hope you've had fun. It's been a couple of days since I've last recorded a video. So let's see what the fixtures have had in store for us. So I believe the last time we played was around this sort of time. Might have been around here. Can't remember. Anyway, so I'm pretty sure we did this game last, right? So we then lost 3-2 to Lviv, a game that we really shouldn't have lost. They won it late on. Hebert scored for them. But yeah, we drew. We drew in terms of the stats, but they did end up winning. We then had a really annoying 2-1 loss to Valin, 2 goals in 4 minutes for them in the second half, turning things around. We had been 1 up, and actually we were the better side. So quite annoying. But we got our Europa League campaign off to a good start with a 2-0 win over Omonoia, who scored in that game. Uros got 2. We then played Alexandria and won 5-0. 4 of those were in the first half. We absolutely smashed them in that first half, and all of their chances came in the second half. So yeah. We then beat Titan Armyansk in the second round of the Cup 4-0 fairly easily. Tumasi, Borovkov, and 2 from Yushkov scored and put us through 4-0. Means that we've drawn Krivbas in the next round, which is annoying, although we did have them last time. They're a pretty tough team. They're top of the league by quite a way at the moment. We did then draw 2-2 with Karpaty. We were 1-0 down. We went 2-1 up, and then they equalised immediately afterwards. Faruk Memic getting an equaliser for them. Annoying, but it is the way it is. We then drew 0-0 with Nacional de Madeira at home in the Europa League, which was not a bad result considering we had Nikolov taken off quite early on, and they were quite a lot better than us in terms of chances created, but we survived. We then had an annoying 2-2 draw with Arsenal Kiev, which we again went to. It's another one we went 1-0 down, came back to winning, and then we let in another equaliser. So disappointing, but we're not playing with our proper right back in those games, any of them. And then we beat Metalist in the last game 2-0, despite having Mladenovic sent off in 34 minutes, 2 goals just after half-time, putting us through in a game that we really needed to win to keep track in the Premier League. So at the moment we're 4th. It's quite a tight section of teams. I mean, look, if you look between, what is that, 9th and 2nd are all separated by 3 points. So a win for us in our next league game, which will be against Chornomorets, who are in that group here, will put us a little bit further away from some of these teams. You can see that Shakhtar are not having a great season, Metalist are having a dreadful season, and Dinamo are not playing well. Dnipro are not doing brilliantly, but Ilichevets are sort of confounding expectations by being so high at the table, and Krivbas are doing very well, having won 10 of their games so far, which is pretty impressive. So yeah, things are not going well for us. Really, well, they're not going badly, but they're not going as well as we would hoped. And now we've got to play Celtic, and I'm slightly concerned that our goalkeeper will not be available. No, he is. He's just he's got a cold, I think, because the other reason is our other goalkeepers. Does it say anywhere what his where would it be? History, injuries. He did. Oh, that was it. There, he stubbed his finger, so he's currently playing, but with a slightly stubbed finger, and he'll just have to deal with that. In terms of substitutes, Nikolov is back and able to play, so we'll put him in for Big George and Mick, who's not been playing brilliantly at right back. And we'll put, in fact, Big George and Mick back into the centre of defence there, allowing us to play our preferred defensive unit. In midfield, as far as those sort of things go, we'll probably leave things as they were. We'll let Mladenovic play, because then that will give us the chance to play Mahmoud against Chornomorets with full fitness. So that's good. And then we have is that a cup game? Oh no, that's a league game. So we have some very big games coming up in terms of our league and Europa League performances. Again, I got in the pre-match press conference, I got the same comment from the media saying that our team might have a problem with motivation against a small team like Celtic, which again, in real life, obviously, that's absolutely insane. And I think they're slightly better than the game is letting them feel. We definitely did okay against them in the was it the Champions League we had them in last time? I think it was. Or it was maybe a qualifying game, whatever. But I think we drew 0-0 at their place and we beat them 2-0 or something like that at home, or maybe it was the other way around. But we did okay against them, so hopefully if we can repeat that this time round, we should be able to qualify for the next round of the Europa League. Unfortunately, we have conceded an early goal. We are 1-0 down. That means Celtic take us over at the top of the group, in second in the group, and that's because it's games played, head-to-head record before goal difference, because otherwise our goal difference would be better than theirs. So let's try and get a goal back. I think we can. We should be able to. If you heard that was Masha sneezing in the background. Koulibaly now coming with the ball. Big cross. Rosic at the back post, but he heads just over the bar. Beats hand in the air. If he gets the ball, it's a handball. Hand with the ball. McHugh heads over the bar. Oh, they've got some easy names to say. That's what I like to see. Anicic now to Gogoa. Volkas in their midfield, not winning the ball to Umasi. Doing pretty well as a sort of makeshift left midfield, sorry. Plays slightly consistently better than Labant, actually, weirdly. So we'll just have to see how that goes. Rosic hits the side netting. He's been doing that quite a lot recently. I guess he probably did it quite a lot last season as well. It's just that he does score quite a lot. He gets enough chances that he scores one eventually. Koulibaly now, is he going to give the ball? No, he just smashes it home. We've got our goal back, and it's 1-1. That means that we are back into second in the table, and we're below Nacional because I think they had a draw at our place. That means it's better in terms of head-to-head record. I'm not really sure how that works. But anyway, if we win this, we could go above them. Big Mick, heads over the bar, unfortunate. Nacional de Madeira are still drawing with Omanoya, which is good for us. We could do with them to draw, actually. That would be a pretty good result. Koulibaly puts the ball... No, he doesn't put the ball anyway. He carries on. He gives it to Bakur eventually. Nikolov to Mladenovic. Bakur back to Nikolov. We've been playing pretty well recently. I don't know quite why. I think possibly not having a senior right back. Koulibaly has scored again. That's lovely to see. Possibly not having a senior right back is hurting us a bit, because I think Nikolov plays really well, but he's also not, as I say, very experienced. He's only sort of 19, and it means that he's sort of prone to messing up a bit, because everywhere else in the team I think we're pretty good. I've checked on our goalkeeping situation. Goalkeeper is still pretty good. We still suffer, in my opinion, on the wings. We don't have any consistent good performers out on the wings yet, although I think Bakur is slowly developing into that role. But certainly the left midfield is a concern, and that central midfield spot where we've got Mladenovic and where we've got Mahmoud, and also the Chilean player as well, Carvacha. We just don't have anyone who's really sort of making that position their own on a consistent basis, which is, I guess, why we're struggling with a bit of consistency in the league. But there we go. Just some thoughts for you. So we're 2-1 up against Celtic Football Club. Anicic keeps the ball nicely. Come on then. Okay, and out to Nikolov. Nikolov for the first game back in a couple, which is nice. He was out injured. Rosic now. Rosic, can he get behind them and put the ball in the middle? No, he gives the ball back to Nikolov, who puts the ball into Mladenovic, who puts the ball across to Koulibaly. Koulibaly has scored a first-half hat-trick against Celtic. Lovely to see. Great ball from Mladenovic, because often he'll just, or midfielders in his position will just shoot. And how are they calling for that to be offside? I mean, it's ridiculous. Great ball by Mladenovic, and he was well onside. McDermott and I think one of the other players keeping him on. No questions about it. We are 3-1 up against Celtic at Celtic. What a game to record, because we've been fairly insipid recently. Although, well, I mean, it's not even insipid. It's just inconsistent, I suppose, is more an accurate term. We did well against Metalist. In fact, we played really well against Metalist, despite only having 10 men for quite a lot of the game. I think Mladenovic was sent off in the first half, despite only having 10 men despite only having 10 men for most of the game. We completely dominated them. I think they only had 3 or 4 shots in total, and we had something like 20, and that's just with one striker up front, so that's not bad at all. We managed to clear. McHugh puts it down onto the feet of their player, but he wasn't able to have a shot. Now Mladenovic is doing well again, trying to make up for the fact that he was sent off in the last game, maybe. Christopher Elm is a name I feel like I might have scouted him. I vaguely remember that name, although maybe he played in the last game and I just looked at him before. I don't know. Don't remember. Hand to Allen. Martin Allen stood next to each other. a throwback to that Barnet legend. Rosic now gives the ball to Koulibaly again. No, Rosic is going past his man. Rosic on his own hits the ball high and wide, and it's a goal kick to Celtic. This is half-time. Koulibaly has run them ragged, and damn right he has. I'm pleased with that. Keep it up, lads. Keep it up. Goalkeeper is able to play through the pain barrier, which is nice. They're playing a 4-4-2, which is good for us. And yeah, it seems like somehow Omanoya are holding Nacional to a draw. If that can stay the same, if that stays like that, and we can continue our good form against Celtic and against Omanoya, we could well be finishing top of our group, which would be very tasty. And we could do with the prize money. Great ball, slightly overhit there. Moran puts it out to Hand to Volkers. Great ball, lovely ball from Hand there through to Martin, but Big George and Mick was there to sniff that one up and shepherd it out of play. Beautiful play. 56 minutes gone. Nikolov, interesting first time chipped ball back to the goalkeeper, 60 yards away. Anicic now not speeding the game along, keeping the ball as much as he can. Just keeping the ball away from Celtic, which I think is good. The ball's been slipped through to Rosic. Rosic, he's not having a good game. Let's maybe take him off, let Handanovic have a bit of a play. And who else have we got looking tired? Let's maybe give... maybe let's take off Labant. I'll bring on Labant, for Tuamasi, because he'll be playing in the next game in a couple of days' time. Actually, this team, playing like this team looks pretty good. It's just that I guess maybe it's our backup players are not as good. Gogua hits the ball over the bar, but unfortunately not into the goal. Maybe it's that we don't have good enough backup players, particularly, I guess, in those positions that I've mentioned before. And that's what causes us issues. Maybe we can't change the game as much as we'd like to be able to from the bench. I don't know whether or not I believe that. I think it's just, quite a lot of the players are quite young. Means that they are inconsistent. And it's just possible that some of our players are not good enough, regardless. If both of them are about the same, but neither of them are good enough to be like absolutely stunning players for FC Lviv in the Ukrainian Premier League, then that's just the way it is. Gogua puts the ball in back. What the fuck was that? That was an absolutely dreadful effort. Let's take him off for Bulgarian Vangel, give him some more experience. Get him a bit more development. Away against Celtic, not a bad place to make a game-changing substitution for him. I was going to say make your debut, but he's obviously made his debut a number of times before. Well, once. But he obviously made it a while ago. So it was a stupid thing to say, and I tried to start it out, and I didn't. Not successfully. Labant puts the ball at the bar. At the bar? Fucking hell, man. What even words was I trying to say? At the line. There we go. Jones now. Big ball up to Nikolov, who calmly puts the ball back to Ančić again. I like Nikolov. He's good. Nikolov, he's much better than... We were playing Big George and Mick there for a couple of games because he's a bit better at it than Vashul... the other centre-back we have, whose name escapes me. Labant tucks the ball home. Is that his first goal of the season? No, but it's a good, calm finish, and we are 4-1 up against Celtic now. Nacional de Madeira are still drawing... I guess that must be 0-0 with Omanoya because they haven't conceded anything. Yep, that's something. Where are they? Yep, 0-0 with Omanoya. Handanovic to Mladenovic. Great ball. Koulibaly's through. Could he have 4? No, Moran saves nicely. I'm surprised we've only conceded 1 in the... Oh, of course, because actually we managed to keep Madeira from scoring. Because we drew 3-3 with them, didn't we, in the Champions League? Did we have both these teams in the Champions League? Or did we play Celtic in a... Oh, we played Celtic in a knockout round of the Europa League last season. That's what's the difference. That was where it was. But we played Madeira in the Champions League. Yes. I do remember. A good win, boys. A good win. Very nice indeed. Now, let's move on and take this form to Chernomorets. It's good that Nacional managed to draw against Omanoya. Well done, them. We will now be favourites to go through top of the league, I guess. Top of the group, at least. Lviv show lethal touch. Lovely stuff. Lovely. Okay, great. I'm looking forward to the next game. I think Chon and Moretz are they're in decent form. A lot of the teams around us seem to be fairly similar. I feel like we're the best team in the league when we're on our day. Kruvbas clearly have a better defence though. They've only conceded I think 8 all season. We've conceded like 30 or something stupid. Yeah, 23 we've conceded, and Kruvbas have conceded 8. So yeah. So they still concede, nearly, not quite, but nearly won a game. So Spack keeps improving. He's constantly improving, but his attacking thing is low. But is that because his finishing is poor? Not sure. What does he not have? He's short and he's not good at jumping. His positioning is not great, but that doesn't matter so much. His mental stats are not quite where you'd want them to be, really. He could be better mentally. He's a bit of a dumb footballer, which is a shame. I was thinking about it the other day, actually. In my opinion, he's quite likely to sort of play out his entire career with us and never end up with a million he'll only make something like 100 or maybe 150 appearances for the club in total throughout his career, but he'll be a one club man and an absolute legend. So we'll see. Maybe that'll happen, maybe it won't. Here we go then. Lviv Stadium in that tiny village in Ukraine. I showed Masha earlier on and she was like, where the fuck is that? The tiny village in Ukraine, the Lviv Stadium, has been expanded. It's now a 9,088-seater ground, which is great. So it's actually not bad. I'm happy with it. I'll take it. To me, the more people we can get in, the better. We'll see how our attendance changes now that we've got that. And so talking about midfielders, I'm looking at this guy, Batista. They all look the same to me. He looks the same as Spack, except he's slightly better mentally. I guess his passing's excellent. His tackling's really poor. He'd need to be trained on tackling. But he's a little bit better mentally. Long shots are not great. What do they want? 2.7 million. Maybe if we say 2.1 million. If you can bring him in, I think he'll make a difference for us. He's a decent player. He could be, like I said, he could be better at tackling. He could be better at... if he wasn't 5... he's going to be wanting a lot of money. I'm not sure he's going to be worth it, to be honest. He probably won't join, now that I've seen how much money he's already on. So yeah, we're expecting to sell... Is this at home? Yeah, so we're expecting to sell about 8,000. So we're still not expecting to sell this thing out. So we really do need to improve that a little bit. Attend the press conference. I expect no problems. I didn't say I expect no problems. You asked me a question of whether or not we've travelled far and that's going to make it worse. And I said, not really. That doesn't mean I expect no problems. They've offered Karen to us, Lek. I looked at him previously. He's actually okay, but I don't think he's going to be what we need. We don't need a 7-foot-tall Armenian striker. Even though he's not played well in the Extraclasse, and that's a easier league than this. No, I don't want him. Thank you for the offer. What was it? $1 million. Not a bad offer for him, to be fair. We could have got him in, but we need to focus on the positions that we actually need to fill in. Otherwise, I'll just end up like I usually do, having an overly good set of strikers. Oh, those 4 that we had at Shlonsk. Zykov, Mancia, there was the Mokoena, and there was another one. Oh, and then there was Grzegorz Lewandowski as well I had in the back. Oh, we had such a good set of players. I am not interested in the Stuttgart job. I do not want to pay 2.5 million for him, so sorry. He has got a wage hike, having played in 6 games for Partizan. Partizan. Okay, and now we play our second game of the day. Oh, Metalist have sacked their manager. Is that the second manager of the season they've sacked? Past managers. Yeah, he's only been in charge for about in 6 months. It's not the second manager of the season, but it's the second manager of the year. Well, that's pretty poor. Metalist are in trouble. They need to make a good appointment, otherwise they will continue their downward trend. They finished very low last season. I would hope that it would be quite funny to see them get relegated because they have an absolutely outstanding wage bill. Their wage bill is insane. I think they've got the second or the third most highest wage bill, and ours is now up in 4th, but that's only by about sort of £1 million more than the team below us, which is in real terms it's not that much. Right, so Mladenovic is not going to be able to play, so we'll play Mahmoud, and we'll put in Mr... Oh, Schmack is already there, but he's weirdly down there. Okay, we'll do that. And we'll have... Caravaggio will make the bench. Good, everyone else looks pretty fine. Let's go goalkeeping. We'll put Sandoval... No, we won't. We don't need a backup goalkeeper, come on. He says, expecting to now have to put Koulibaly in goal or something stupid like that. Okay, let's try this out then. We're playing against these fools. They have two players who could make their debut. Barshan, that's the guy I was talking about, could make his 25th appearance for the club. Maybe he will. We'll see. They've got a goalkeeper from Brazil, so that means he will be cluck. Passionately telling them they can do this. Chona Moretz, we owe them for the cup game a couple of years ago, although we did beat them in the Super Coppa recently. Whoops. My tea bag holder, just clicking against a glass there, fun. Nikolov now up to Bakur. Oh, heavy touch. Mahmoud's pretty good too. Like this is a thing. Like they play okay occasionally, and then they also randomly don't play okay. So they're very inconsistent, that midfield spot. Gogua puts the ball in. Big George and Mick at the back post, heads over the bar. He should be scoring more from corners. Gonzalez does get a fair few. He gets a few. But yeah, Big George and Mick doesn't score as many as I would have thought, considering he's about 7 foot tall. But it is what it is. Kolesnik. Oh, lovely stuff from Gonzalez. Hosha puts the ball in. Big George and Mick gets that easy. Bakur just about keeps that on. Oh, nicely done. Played him like anything, you fool. Played him like a top. Spun him like a top. Read him like a book. Played him like a game of Football Manager. Now then. Nothing's happening at all. Nice. Juric to Gonzalez, Gogua, Juric. They are playing with 5 in the midfield. Maybe it's completely nullifying our movement in there. Oh dear. Terrible ball. Mr. Small there. Mali. If it was Polish, I don't know where he's from, but if he was Polish, his name is Small. Petkov, Kolesnik. Out to Sukhomlinov. Big George and Mick clears. Lovely stuff. Koulibaly. Juric even, sorry. Up to Tuimasi now. We're finally behind their defence a little bit. No. Oh, Juric, come on, fella. Look at that bar. It's all dark blue. So poor. Okay, well, not a great half. Let's say, I'm far from pleased, and then calmly say, oh, not that one. Calmly say, oh, God, calmly say, yeah, you weren't that bad. Calmly say, you weren't that bad. See, Rosic is looking uninteresting. My problem is that I think Rosic is starting to be a little bit unmotivated for these games generally, these weaker games against smaller teams, which Chorna Moretz definitely are. They're newly promoted, so they definitely are a smaller team. He's always up for the Champions League games or the Europa League games or anything in Europe or Cup finals and what have you, but he just doesn't really seem to be up for league games. Oh, but I mean, he's so good. Lovely stuff. Like he's a very creative player, and I like it. Gogua to Juric, back to Gonzalez now. Juric again into Gogua to Tuimasi. Tuimasi puts the ball in. Nobody bothering to go and get it until the ball stops right on the line there. I think we could have, if we just bothered to go like a second earlier, we'd have got there. Mahmoud was trying to unleash a shot. We know he can hit them from there. Nikolov diving to get Igniich. Igniich gets a booking off a dive. Sorry, Steve-O. Gogua puts the ball in. We hit the crossbar. Rosic hits the back post. Koulibaly hitting the crossbar with the header there. That's unfortunate. Big George and Mick. Some of their movement, like they all, I don't know, maybe is that just the game being rubbish, or is it just them being unintelligent? But sometimes, like the ball comes towards them and they stand there and go, duh, and then they move. Bakur puts the ball in brilliantly again. Gogua to Mahmoud, puts the ball through to, great save from Paulinho. But yeah, Koulibaly manages to make the save, and it was offside, of course. Great save by Paulinho. Lovely play from Koulibaly, but Koulibaly was offside. That's what I tried to say, but I sort of went into autopilot with the old brain. Not much seems to be happening. which is impressing me. Let's go for that. Why not? Let's give Carvaccio a game. Let him try his hand. To Amasi, to Juric. Are they still playing with the 5 in midfield, or have they gone forward a bit? No, they're still playing with the 5 in midfield, which is why we're struggling to get through, because you see there's three players on Gogua there. To Amasi, into Mahmoud. Big ball over to Bakur. Bakur, great take. Into Koulibaly. Koulibaly, great save from Paulinho. That was the first time really in the whole game that we've seen us go through the team quite nicely. And then immediately we take off 2 or 3 of the players that were in that move. But nevertheless, Gonzalez heads over the bar. See, this is what I mean. Like, Gonzalez quite often gets onto those front post headers. Doesn't always score them, but at least he does connect with them. But Big Mick doesn't even really connect very often. And when he does, it's always over the bar. Tumasi into Carvaccio. Carvaccio to Handanovic. Handanovic turns. Paulinho saves. Another good save. They're hanging on in there according to the man at the bottom. Oh, that was in towards Big George and Mick, but no. Gogol was still onside. Juric goes past one. Puts the ball in the middle, but too close to Paulinho. 75 minutes gone. We're really turning the screw here. Gonzalez. Gogua to Carvaccio. Carvaccio went for the shot, but it was wasteful, really. We can't really go overload. The problem, can we? Can we go overload? I did do it. Hang on. Ball comes in. Big George and Mick. Come on, you fool. We're on top of them. We're gonna go overload and see what that can do for us. If anything, probably not anything. Gonzalez, big ball up. Bulgarian Vangel tries to, but no. Roshkov tries to head the ball on, but nobody was there. Bulgarian Vangel gives out to Rosic. Paulinho again. Great save. Rosic, uncharacteristically poor finishing today. Kolesnik. Nikolov puts the ball up again, but doesn't get there. Nikolov, again, poor balls, and now they have a chance to clear. But Mick puts the ball up. Petkov, Paulinho, Big Mick again getting the ball to Handanovic straight away. Through to Rosic. Huge ball out to Juric. Great vision there, but apparently he was offside. I would have fancied him to just turn on his heels and score there, but whatever. Rosic puts the ball in the middle. Oh, you fool. And interesting composure there. They'd prefer a corner, so... Why are the keepers not coming up? Come up, mate. Here it goes. Ball comes in. Big George and Mick scores. Big George and Mick scores. I've been battering him all game and in the last game about not scoring enough headers from corners, but there he has done it. He puts us 1-0 up against Chornomorets, which could be big. That puts us within 5 points of the team at the top of the table. Triple T. Big George and Mick. Lovely stuff. And he is so big. Chornomorets kick off. Yeah, Big George and Mick. Come on, that's what we like to see. Did he get a man of the match? Yeah, I'm telling them that there was a bit of a let off. He got man of the match for that. Well, he was good with his goal scoring. We are up to second. That is great. That's a big result. That puts us a long way ahead of people like Shakhtar down there. That's only 3 points though. Still. But we need to start clawing games back on Krivbas. We actually do have them next. I see that's a normal league game, so we have them next. It'll be a fun one to watch for me. I'm not going to record it. Yes, that was a great result. I'm very happy with that. Fahid Sagedi. No. Sadeghi. Okay, so that was the end of that one. That maintains our unbeaten record to 5 games. We certainly made it hard for ourselves, definitely, but the confidence is high. Each win brings a bit more confidence. I completely agree with the ref. He was faultless today. He played very well. This is his 4th goal of the season. Big Georgian Mickey boy. So, yes, we are within 5 points of the team at the top, Krivbas. They lost again. I think they must have lost in that last game there. And that makes me very happy. Let's look at our fixtures, so we'll see what's going on. So we've got to play Krivbas. Oh, it's a cup game. Okay, so it doesn't matter, actually. We don't play Krivbas until then. Have we already played them in the league? We did lose to them already, didn't we? 3-0, yeah. So we've already lost them 3-0. We've got to play them in the cup now, and then we've got to play them away in the league just before Christmas. So I think what we'll do is we'll come back for... Why not come back for those 2 games? That'll be an interesting one. Omanoia, so we'll know basically what's going to happen in the Europa League, and Kruvbas, because that's a big game for us in terms of our league positioning at the end of the season. Because it looks to me, all those games should be winnable after Christmas, depending on how Metalist do with replacing their manager, and Dnipro is always a little tough, but most of those teams are pretty beatable. So if we can claw back some points against Kruvbas here, and if we can keep up our attack, like for example beating Shakhtar would be good, and just keeping those other teams around us down, and hopefully one of them will also knock some points off Kruvbas, we could be in the title challenge, but I don't know. So I'll see you guys in the next one.